Hi. So today's a bit of a different one. It's a much different video, but I just wanted to talk about it. So obviously wrestling's multimedia, man. There's a lot of stuff that we can talk about with wrestling. And one thing that I really adore, and something I've got quite a weird niche interest in, and something that helped me get into wrestling, believe it or not, is wrestling autobiographies. It sounds weird, but I truly do love them, and I've not heard a lot of people talk a lot about them. And honestly, I think that's a shame. And I'm just gonna talk about the ones I've got and talk about, just to start a little discussion. If any of you read any wrestling biographies, please recommend, because I adore them. And frankly, I've got a lot here, and I've not read them all, so you know what I mean? You guys can decide which one I read next. That's fair. You can decide which one I can read next. But yeah, a bit of a different one, but I just wanted to ramble out these. I've got a real love and admiration for these, so I cannot wait to share that. So, the first one I actually read and bought was Chris Jericho's second autobiography. What is it? Undisputed, but then the subtitle's much funnier. How to Become the World Champion in 1,372 Easy Steps. I think that's pretty funny. I think that's because the pages, there's 1,000. No, there's not. I'm an idiot. This book's okay. When I bought it, I thought it was excellent, because Chris Jericho is a rock star, essentially, and the book kind of reflects that. This took place, so I've not read this first or the book after this, but this took place after he left WWE for the first time. Or, no, so this is when he debuted in WWE after leaving WCW. But then it covers when he leaves WWE and then ends when he returns to WWE. Now, the problem is with this book is it's great for insight to Jericho's psyche. He's one egotistical son of a bitch, but it's very much one chapter wrestling, one chapter Fozzy, and if you give a shit about Fozzy, well done, but it's weird. I found it funny. I'll talk about the next book in a second. There's points in this where Jericho goes on about that is getting conflicted in another book, and I think it's funny. But it's a good book. I recommend it. It's fun. You do learn a lot of stuff about early 90s, late 90s WWE, which I thought's fun. And Jericho's, regardless what your opinion is of him now, he's very interesting. So I recommend this. This is pretty good. It's not the best, but it's decent. So the next one is the one that is directly contradicts something Jericho says. It is one of the better ones, probably the second best, I'd say, is Cheating, Death, Stealing Life, the Eddie Guerrero story. This is excellent. This was written by Eddie himself just before he died. It was released after he died, so that's how wild of a circumstance it was. And you learn a lot through the guy. And just, when I found when Eddie Guerrero was going around, I can't lie, I wasn't. Probably when I was a kid, maybe, but I don't remember Eddie. But you learn a lot about the history of this guy. You do. And just his family, how big of a legendary, his dads and just his family are in Lucha Libre. This man fucking adored Vicky Guerrero, which is wild, because Vicky Guerrero is not great as a human being now. But this book's phenomenal. And the thing is with this book is how it contradicts Jericho's book is obviously Jericho talks about, the infamous Benoit situation and, Jericho's relationship with the WCW guys who came over, specifically Eddie and Benoit. And Jericho acts like they're genuinely best friends and like the best of buds, all three of them. And it's like, okay, whatever. And then in Eddie Guerrero's book, I shit you not, he's mentioned a grand total of like twice, very passingly. It's nuts. He mentions Benoit a fuck ton in this, and it's just it's tragic but beyond interesting. I adore it. This is, out of all the books I say to people that I have got, I've not read them all, like I said, this is probably the most universal one. You go, if you're gonna read one, read this. It's phenomenal. It really is great. And frankly, it's not, I don't want to say beautiful, it's like, there's a beauty in it, in the sense of this is like probably his parting gift for the world, and I think that's excellent. They've even got a foreword from Vince, and a lot of these books, especially WWE ones, have got very much timely manners with WWE, but this is a phenomenal book. I really recommend it. It's really good. So, speaking of timely appropriate books, this is probably the worst one I have that I've read. It is Adam Copeland on Edge. The other side's way funnier. This book is written published in around 2005. It was after Edge's 2004 first big injury. And I thought we'd learn a lot more about Edge. It might be my fault for misjudging it. And I think Edge is a very interesting person. I like Edge a lot. He's one of my favourite wrestlers, especially from WWE, and I don't mind Adam Copeland. But, like, the main thing you think about around this time, it's when he was beefing with Matt Hardy, the stuff with Lita. None of it's really covered because it's before it all come out. Bullshit. But you learn a lot about his life, you know, his upbringing, his relationship with Christian. That's always nice to see. But it was just kind of, the juicy stuff was left out. The funniest shit with this book is when he's talking about Lita, going, Lita, she's awesome. Yeah, this girl's really awesome. Yeah, I really like Lita. She's awesome. She's great. Jeff's really lucky to, Matt's really lucky to have her. It's so, every time you read it, you're like, oh, it's fucking funny as hell. But this one, it's not the greatest. If you're a massive Adam Copeland fan, I do kind of recommend it because it's not awful, but it's just, my expectations was, I thought I was going to get a lot more juice out of this, and I never. But it's pretty good. I mean, if Edge is legendary, so there's obviously a lot of stuff there, but it's really good. I recommend it if you're an Edge fan, but if not, definitely leave it out. So, you all know me. You all probably know my favourite wrestler of all time is Bryan Danielson. This was when he was in WWE, so it's Daniel Bryan. Yes. His autobiography released written just before WrestleMania 30, you know, the Yes Movement, released not long after. This is really good. Obviously, I'm a massive Bryan guy. I'm going to adore this. It's really good. He touches on a lot of old school Ring of Honor and his training, which is probably the most interesting part of the book. The WrestleMania 30 is a lot of whirlwind, so whenever you hear him in interviews and he's like, I didn't really get it because he talks about his dad and stuff. His dad died not long ago. Even I feel like they should make a second book, and he should. I really would love him to. But it's like, I think with Bryan in this book, it's the first half of it, like, if we have to, like, a lot of it's really fucking good. But then the latter end, like, it flutters between flashback, him talking about his past, but then obviously a lot building up to WrestleMania 30. But, like, a lot of it's like Bryan and Brie had to work out with each other, and they really push Bryan and Brie. Like, the hot superstar couple really do. It's like, it's weird. It's very WWE mandated. But it's excellent. It's an excellent it's an excellent book. It's, honestly, I recommend it to anyone. I fucking love Bryan. I'm never going to say no. But it's actually not the best book I've read from the wrestlers. But my favourite wrestler, the best wrestler, recommend it. Really fucking good. But if we're going to talk about the best wrestling book I've personally ever read, the ones I've got here, it is easily Jon Moxley's autobiography, Just Mox. What a fucking book. What a fucking book. Honest to God. Jon Moxley, like, I love the book, like, the physical book. Like, look at the physical image in that. That's fucking peak. And then the one on the back. Oh, my God. It's fucking incredible. I love this. And I love Jon Moxley. And I feel like his story in this is excellent. He just talks about, you know, his indie scene, which I think is excellent. And then his WWE career, why he didn't like it. And then it ends just after he joins AEW. Talks about Brody Lee dying. You know, was it a small little battle with addiction? But then it goes from all stuff like that to jokes that Claudio has told him. How he likes his sandwiches cut. And one thing Moxley does in this book. Yeah, look, literally, this is how he likes his sandwiches cut. What the fuck? And then he's, like, in this book, what I love that he does, and I think every autobiography should kind of do this, I think it's genius, is he has, like, these little side pages where it's him talking about, like, music and films and wrestling matches he likes, just briefly. And look, yeah, Spin It Up, that's what he's called, Spin It Up. And he's talking about a Green Day album. And it's a bunch of this shit. And for me, I really adore this book because of how unique it is. I think every autobiography, I'm not a big reader no more. I like graphic novels and comics. This is the best autobiography I've ever read, not just wrestling. Best autobiography. It's phenomenal. Any wrestling fan, any book fan deserves to read this book. It's phenomenal. WWE, AEW, I don't give a fuck. Read this. It is phenomenal. And who doesn't love Jon Moxley? It's ridiculous. Read the book. By far the best wrestling autobiography that I've read. And, I mean, what else do you expect? It's Jon Moxley, the guy's fucking all-timer. So, the last time I started reading a book, a wrestling book, I stopped it just because I lack of focus, and you can still see my bookmark. It's the Young Bucks' book, Killing the Business from Backyards to Big Leagues. This was okay. I didn't really draw to it, which is surprising, AW guy. But it was good. I love the book, so I'm never going to disagree. But it's pretty good. I can't really say much. Look how thick I got into it. There's a lot left. But it's good. I think it does talk about them starting AEW. Yeah, it does briefly, because I remember reading this thing about Cody in it. It's interesting. It is interesting, so it's not the worst thing in the world, but I can't really comment on it. I just thought I'd mention it. And before I talk about the ones I haven't read, I have read this, but it's not an autobiography. Obviously, the AEW, this book is all Elite book. It's really well put together. Physically, it's a really well put together book. Like, small little details, like the cover's brilliant. And just the art in it, when you get some pictures in there, like, look at shit like that, just opened up on it. Like, just great prints. The book's a really high quality book. And one thing I love about it is they even talk about people like Punk. They even talk, like, look at that for a chapter page, Moxley there. You know what I mean? It's got some real nice just art in it. And they even talk about people like Punk. But, you know, you don't expect, not that you don't expect them to, but they didn't have to. And they even, like, you know, breathe, you don't, like, talk about them in a bad way. Look, Cody's on it. You know, people, they don't really talk about Miro, stuff like that. And I think that was really cool. I really, like, it wasn't, the way I thought this book would be, it wasn't that, but it was a nice little, I got this on a release, and I enjoyed it. It wasn't the best. It's definitely not better than all of those, but it's fun. If you don't know the history of AEW, definitely recommend it. And it's, even if you're an AEW fan, get it for your collection, because it's just a nice piece to have. I really enjoyed this. I hope they do a second, because it only calls up to, like, All In 23, so there's so much after it left that I think is really important. So hopefully they do another one, but it's any AEW fan should get this. I really do agree. So they're all the ones I've actually read. I've got a few more here that I haven't read, and if you want to decide which one I should read next, by all means. So one I should have read a while ago and I never did, I've had this one for a while, is Drew McIntyre's book. I like Drew McIntyre. This was released in, it doesn't actually say, because why does it not say? It was released just after, it's when he was champ. It was released in 2022/21. Britain's first WWE champion. It's pretty cool. I've not read it, so I can't say. I like Drew. I'm not against it. I've had this book for a while, so I won't be against reading this. Next, we have Stone Cold Steve Austin. The Stone Cold Truth, what? With JR's forward. I like just the picture of Steve on the back. I know a bit about Steve's past, so it's not like, that's the thing. If I know a bit about their story so far, I'm not going to be intrigued. So I know a bit about Steve Austin's past, but I like it. It's quite a big book. This was released in 2003. I was 1 when this came out. So, it's Stone Cold. Like, come on, it's fucking Stone Cold. Fucking love the guy. The next one I have that I haven't read, which I do know the story of, this one was released in 2001. I wasn't even born. Is Call Me Kurt Angle. It's true. They can put down on it, pussies. I love Kurt. I love the Olympic story of Kurt Angle too. And I don't think it'll touch TNA because it's 2001, so you're probably missing a good bit of Kurt Angle out of this. But, I mean, who gives a shit? Even Stone Cold, you probably miss a good bit if it's 2003. But you probably miss a lot out of Kurt. But, I mean, it's Kurt Angle. I think the Olympic stuff alone. I would buy a Kurt Angle biography if it wasn't wrestling themed. This has obviously got wrestling shit in it, so I want to read this eventually. This could be fun. The next one I got this a while ago. Bear in mind, I got a lot of these second-hand as well, and they're really good condition, so if you're going to get them, that's the way. Is the Rey Mysterio Behind the Mask. Horrible picture of Rey. That goes hard, though. This one was released in 2009. Jesus. I like Rey. I think Rey's a big legend. I hope if this one, if I ever do read it, I probably will eventually, they talk about actual lucha instead of just, yeah, I went to WCW, man. Like, come on. You know what I mean? Like, they probably talk about the Eddie stuff. I think that's what's going to be really interesting. They talk about Eddie. But, you know, you got to have respect for Rey, who he is. And, frankly, I can imagine this one to be all of them, but specifically this one, I can imagine this to be really interesting for how, because when Rey didn't leave, oh, God. I opened this and shit fell out. That's quite funny. But yeah, I can imagine this to be really interesting. I look forward to read all these eventually, but I like this one. And then the last one, the one I got most recently that I should have frankly used read a while ago, is Bret the Hitman Hart's book. And Bret, this come out in, Jesus, when did this come out? It doesn't actually say. It doesn't say. Who gives a shit? With Bret, we all know how much of a moaner Bret is. And, you know, frankly, I don't blame the guy. He killed his fucking brother. And this came out in 2007 and 2009, so 2007 essentially. And look how thick it is. This is massive. This is a massive book compared to the others. Compared to the Bucks' book, I mean, Jesus, you know what I mean? It's night and fucking day. But it's like double. I think it's double. How many pages is it? It's over 570 pages. Jesus Christ, that is a Bible. And probably that much is about Bill Goldberg. But I can imagine this be really interesting. The thing is with Bret, you know how much is going to go on about the screw job, stuff like this. So it does interest me, but I don't know a lot about 90s wrestling stuff. Like, there's a Roddy Piper book. I haven't got it. But I'm interested in reading that. You know, stuff like that. I think that's interesting. And when I got this, a guy I was talking to in the store was like, you know, this. He was into wrestling books too. He's like, get this. Really fucking good. So, hopefully, I do read this soon. But they're all the wrestling books I actually have. That's not including like comics and stuff. And I do aim to get more. But if it's a weird hobby I have, and I've just wanted to have an outlet to talk about it. But like I said, if you're gonna read any, that's the one. Mark's already. There's the Eddie Guerrero one. They're the two. They are the two. Easily the top two. And again, if you have an opinion, let me know which one you think I should read next. But if you like wrestling books too, by the way, please let me know your favourites and why. Because there's a lot I haven't got. The one I've wanted for a while is William Regal's. And I can imagine that to be phenomenal. But that shit's expensive as hell. But I can't find a way to pirate it. But yeah, I hope a lot of wrestlers release books too. Two phenomenal calls that would be to release wrestling books. Obviously AJ Styles, Kevin Owens. Those two boxers would fuck. But books would fuck. But either way, I just wanted to talk about them. And if you read any, let me know, because I think they're pretty cool.